Hello, friends. A few days ago, I was telling you that in Italy, the number of cases seemed to be slowing down, the number of hospitalizations, and the number of deaths. Today, Mayor Cuomo, New York City, said social distancing is working. We're starting to see a slowing down of cases and a slowing down of deaths. Doesn't mean that there's still not a lot. And last night or yesterday was one of the worst days in terms of deaths. Over 1,000 people died in New York yesterday. Why am I telling you this? I talked about precaution, prevention, protection, and prudence. And right now, prudence is extremely important. And precaution is extremely important. As I've been mentioning, this week, next week, and potentially even the week after, it's going to be very, very bad, very contagious, and we have to stay at home. We have to keep our distance for our sake and that of other people. China today opened its doors to people to go out in public after 40 days of being in confinement, after 40 days of being in stay at home. Let's see what happens. We should learn from other countries so that we don't repeat their mistakes. But we'll see what happens in China. And as other countries open up, we'll see what happens there too, and we'll learn. Now, I'm sure you've heard about a vaccine, but you've also heard about an antibody. And you're wondering, well, why don't they give everybody antibodies? And I want to talk a little bit about immunity, the immune system, the system that fights the infections. And I've made an analogy of the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines. They're all important components, and I'm going to try to simplify something that is very, 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 very complex, very matrixed and very difficult, and it has a lot of components. There is active immunity and there is passive immunity. Passive immunity is the immunity that a mother gives to a child when they're in the uterus or when they breastfeed. It's also the type of immunity that they are giving these patients in the form of what is called an immunoglobulin. They take antibodies from a person who has recovered from an infection and has made neutralizing antibodies against the virus. They process it and they give it to the person that is sick at that moment. Passive immunity will only last for a period of time that is short, relatively short, because you're giving something to that person to fight the virus at that moment. It will not protect you unless you keep taking immunoglobulin, which is not really recommended, except in certain conditions. It won't work. However, active immunity is what you get when you get a vaccine. That is a reaction from your body to what is being injected, and that doesn't go away. That stays in your immune system unless the virus changes and then you need to get another vaccine, which is what happens with influenza. As of now, we don't know what the coronavirus is going to do. So far, it has not mutated a lot. It actually is pretty stable, which is a good thing. And I can tell you that there's a number of medications that are being studied right now. There is a big effort for companies that are doing vaccines to make your immune system fight the virus. In the meantime, for those that are sick, for those that need protection because their own bodies cannot handle the infection, those are the ones that are getting antibodies. Now I want to talk for one more thing, and that is we can't be indoors forever, right? How long is it going to take before they tell us that we can go out? Well, I've told you about active immunity. I've told you 80% of the people that have this will get no symptoms, mild symptoms, or moderate symptoms. Which means that hopefully 80% of the people that have gotten this, that have not progressed into the intensive care unit and intubation and death, hopefully will have developed some immunity. What some countries are considering, and there's a lot of controversy about what I'm about to say, is giving people immunity passports. And what does that mean? You get tested, you have antibodies against the virus, they'll give you a passport, so to speak, and you can go back to work. Because you're not going to transmit it, you already have antibodies. That has several implications and several dangers, and the authorities are now discussing whether that's the best way to approach it or not. It makes sense. But remember those fake IDs that people get when they're teenagers? That also opens the door for fake passports. And what's going to happen to those people that weren't infected? Are they going to be indoors forever? So there's a number of societal implications that are being considered right now. And as much as I'm telling you that the virus is being studied, the effect on the body is being studied, vaccines and medications are being studied, the social implications of what measures we have to take are also being studied. I'm not a sociologist, but I am sure that there are people that are trying to figure how to best help us to get back, not to pre-corona days, that's never going to happen, but to as back as normal as we possibly can with our daily living. We will get this vaccine. It'll take some time. There's no magic wand. We will get a vaccine, and most of us, hopefully, will be protected. For now, I know big holidays are coming up for several religions. Please, I know there is a desire to go and celebrate with your families. Have your dinners, have your lunches, have your celebrations. Please, use virtual media. There are ways that you can get 8 people on the same call. Please, stay home, stay safe, and stay tuned. Thank you.